Hey, this is Jesse with Create This. For those of you who follow my channel, you know that this is my solar generator. It's a lithium LiFePO4 solar generator. And I use these Blue Sea Systems terminal pass-through connectors as 12-volt connectors. So I've got negative is black here. This is positive back here in the back. Let me just take this cap off to show you. So normally these terminal posts are exposed and there's just a little nut right here. And my cat and my daughter climb up on this system sometimes when I don't want them to. And so I just wanted to protect them from any possible arcing or shock or whatever, because these are live all the time. It is a 12-volt system, so it's pretty safe, but you can never be too careful. What I've been doing is I've been covering these with electrical tape, but the other day I had to use them with alligator clamps for a project that I was doing, and I found that I had to cut all new electrical tape to cover them back up again. What I've wanted to do all along is get like some knurled nut knobs to go on top so that I can just finger tighten them down like that, and there wouldn't be any metal exposed on top for anyone to arc or contact. I looked around on the internet for a 3D printable knurled nut knob, and I found one. And I 3D printed these. It took maybe 2 or 3 tries before I got it right. I had to experiment with the nut size. But I am really pleased with the way these turned out. Now, these knobs are PLA plastic, so they will not survive extreme heat. You wouldn't want to put these in a van or in a car or anything like that where it gets hot. They will melt. However, if I wanted to, I could print them out in ABS plastic, and then they would survive much higher temperatures. But this generator stays in my living room, so it's air conditioned, and these are fine for my uses right now. So construction-wise, this nut that you see here is the original nut that comes with the Blue Sea Systems terminal. I'm just reusing the existing part there, and then it has just been glued into the PLA plastic housing that's 3D printed. So this is the glue that I use. It's just E6000, and it seems to bond really well with the metal as well as the PLA plastic. So let me show you how I made these. I'll show you where to get the files and how to print them. Okay, so these are the Blue Sea Systems terminal feed-through connectors that I used. They're the 5/16 of an inch versions, and I really like these things. They're 250 amps capable and 48 volt capable, so they're really beefy. And I use them to pass through plywood right there. That little round section right there is what actually passes through the plywood. And so you would use something like this to avoid passing a cable through a hole because the cable might, be rubbed bare, and then you'd have like an electrical problem. So they're really nice. Anyway, they come in black and red. I think the black one is the 2203 model and the red is the 2204. And these nuts that they're displaying here in the picture aren't the ones that I have. So hopefully that's not an issue. Maybe you can just remove the washer. It looks like it has a lock washer there and you can use that. Mine came with different nuts. But anyway, to get the 3D printable file, all you have to do is go to github.com/create-this. Let's just go ahead and do that. github.com/create-this, and then you can click on repositories, and the SCAD knurled nut knob is the repository that you want. So this was forked from the Drofness SCAD knurled nut knob project, and then I just changed a few values. So I've also got links here to the Blue Sea Systems terminal feed-throughs if you're interested in that. And you can click on the commits here. This is GitHub, so it's a version control system, and you can click on this commit. And this shows you the actual file that changed, that I added, the STL file. And it also shows you changes to the description, but it shows you changes to the SCAD file itself. This project uses what's called Openscad. So it's like a computer-aided design program that's kind of based on programming. And so they have these parameterized values, or variables, if you want to call them that. So like knob height, 20. I changed that to 24, hole diameter 8, I changed it to 9.5, nut radius 8, I changed it to 8.3. And that was pretty much all I had to do to make this knurled nut knob that works with the Blue Sea Systems terminal feed through. If you want to get this, you probably need to download the whole project. There's this clone or download button over here. You can grab that whole thing. And then I've got the STL file itself is right there if you want to grab that. I think when you click on it directly, it takes you to this cool CAD viewer, but I don't see a way to actually download it, so you probably need to use that clone or download link. If you're interested in modifying the values yourself, maybe you have a nut that's a little bit larger or a little bit smaller and you want to experiment, all you have to do is download Openscad. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll show you how to do that. I'm on Windows right now. Just go to Openscad, download. Openscad is a really cool, free, open source CAD modeling software, but it kind of gears itself towards programmers rather than visual types. So a lot of people don't like it, but it's really great for parameterized parts, like things that take captured nuts, for example. Okay, so now that I've downloaded that, I should be able to just, yeah, there we go, Openscad, run it. Okay, now the next thing, now that you've got Openscad on your machine, the next thing you need to do is clone or download the repository. You can download the zip right here, and that'll work just fine, but I have this thing called git bash, and so I like to use that. I like to put things in my documents folder, and you just git clone, and you paste the URL. Okay, now you've got it on your computer in the documents folder, and so now you can go over to Openscad and you can open the documents folder for the SCAD knurled nut knob, and you just want to open the knurled nut knob SCAD file. And so there you go, there's your nut knob. And so over on the left here are the parameters that you can change. So say you want it to be a little bit taller, or you've got a different nut size or something like that. You can scroll down here and you can change any of these variables here. And then after you change them, the README talks about this. After you change them, you can choose Design, Compile, and Render. And so we click Design, and actually it's just this F6 render. It's not Compile and Render anymore. I think that's an older version of Openscad that does that. So you wait a second for it to recompile, and then you choose File, Export, Export as STL, and you just save that somewhere. So in my case, I save it right there to the 5/16 terminal post knobs STL file. And there you go. You got your new knurled nut knob. Now, if you're like me and you have a Ultimaker, which you probably don't, but I do, then I open up Cura for my slicing software, because you can't print an STL file directly to a 3D printer. You've got to convert it to G-code first. And then I open up my STL file. So I've got SCAD, terminal post knob, and there it is, right there. And so it says ready to save file, so I would save this out to like an SD card or something, and then I could take that SD card over to my printer and I could print it out. So that's the process. It's pretty simple. It takes a few tries to get it right. If you change any of these parameters, if you have a different nut size or something, or if you're using it with, for example, the 3/8 version of the terminal feed through, you'll need to change those values. But it's pretty straightforward. So I'll have links to all of this stuff down below the video in the description if you're interested in checking that out. Hope you found this video interesting or useful. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button down below. Thanks for watching and please subscribe.